Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the latest polls between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump in the upcoming 2024 presidential election, and we're going to be using the Decision Desk HQ as well as 538 to take a look at some of these polls, and we're going to be filling out the map according to the polls and where the election stands as of today between Vice President Harris and former President Donald Trump. But before we get started, make sure you guys are subscribed, click the bell so you don't miss out on my content. Press the like button, give this video a thumbs up. Also, we have memberships. You can find the links to that in the description section. And now back to the topic of today's video. Let's start off with the West Coast, and we'll make our way up to the Northeast with the Rust Belt states. So starting off with the state of Nevada, according to based off four polls, Donald Trump has an 8.6% lead or advantage over Kamala Harris. She is currently polling at 40.9%, so almost 41, to Donald Trump's 49.5%. And at this point in time, this is going to be a likely victory for Donald Trump in the state of Nevada. If this ends up happening, it would probably be because he flipped Washoe County as well as run up the numbers in Clark County or the Vegas area, or, Kamala Harris could not perform or be in par with Joe Biden's performance just 4 years ago in 2020 in the state of Nevada. Trump would probably make significant gains among Hispanic voters. That would be key to his victory in the state of Nevada. So this is the lead for Trump, 8.6 for Trump in the state of Nevada based off of four polls. And now we move on to the next state, Arizona. Keep in mind, this is a border state, so that can really benefit Donald Trump ultimately at the end of the day. And now between Trump and Harris, obviously this is not a five-way race. We don't have the independents or third-party candidates. We don't have RFK. They did not include Cornel West or Jill Stein. So this is just a head-to-head between Harris and Trump. So, you can say this is accurate or you can say it's not, because obviously, realistically, we do have third-party candidates. But as of right now, Donald Trump has roughly a 7% lead based off of five polls in the state of Arizona, which is going to be considered a likely margin. Kamala Harris has exactly 43% on the dot to Donald Trump's 50.2% in the state. So Trump is actually cracking 50%, which is pretty impressive considering that just 4 years ago, this state voted blue for Joe Biden. And even in the midterms, Arizona voted, Democrat. So as of right now, Trump's going to win Arizona by a likely margin, and that would be probably because he would probably flip Maricopa County. That's basically the deciding factor on who wins Arizona. Maricopa is extremely important, as well as Trump would make gains with Hispanic voters as well. And also the border crisis is a major, issue. Donald Trump's lead in the state of Arizona of 7 percentage points. And now moving on to the state of Florida. As of right now, according to the latest poll, you can see the second poll right now, conducted from July 15 to July 16. So pretty recently, Donald Trump has a 10% lead, a 10-point lead in the state of Florida. So he is getting double digits over Kamala Harris. She's polling at 39%, according to the second poll, as you can see right here, to Donald Trump's 49%. So he is winning the state by actually a comfortable margin. So Florida, believe it or not, is going to be safe. And the main reason for this is Trump would probably be able to flip Miami-Dade County. DeSantis flipped it from blue to red in 2022. So why not Trump would do the same thing? Also, Cuban Americans, Hispanics are really trending towards the right, and it would really go to Donald Trump's benefit ultimately at the end of the day. So according to the latest poll, Donald Trump's winning Florida by 10 points. And now moving on to the next state, which is going to be the deep southern state of Georgia. So in a Trump and Harris matchup, Donald Trump has an exactly 6% lead based on 7 polls from the state of Georgia. He's currently polling at 47.6% to Vice President Kamala Harris's 41.6%. You could argue this is also going to be considered a likely margin at the end of the day. And now for this to end up being reality on election day, it would mean that Kamala Harris would have to significantly decrease and lower her turnout in probably Atlanta, the metropolitan area, as well as Savannah as well. If Donald Trump really runs up the numbers in there, then I think he's on track to win the state. Also, I believe Georgia passed a law which all absentee ballots have to be put in, by 8 p.m., which the state would be called faster, and it will also go in Donald Trump's benefit. So, honestly, according to the latest polls, the Decision Desk HQ, Donald Trump has a 6-point lead in the state of Georgia based on 7 polls against Kamala Harris. And this does not include third-party candidates, obviously, which is going to be considered a likely margin. And then moving on to the next state of North Carolina. So, as of right now, according to the latest poll, which is the second one, as you can see right here, Donald Trump has a 4% lead over Kamala Harris in the state of North Carolina. He's polling at roughly 48% to her 44%. And keep in mind, this is a Democratic super PAC. This is a Democratic funded poll in which Donald Trump is up by 4%. So imagine if it was not a Democratic funded poll, he would be up by even a greater amount. So this is going to be considered a lean margin ultimately at the end of the day. North Carolina, believe it or not, is actually getting redder. Republicans keep gaining in terms of new, registered voters. And I'm moving on to the next state, which is going to be Virginia. So as of right now, between Harris and Trump, Kamala Harris has roughly a 2.6% lead in the state of Virginia based on 5 polls. Now, keep in mind, this is a state where Biden won back in 2020 by 10 points. So this is roughly an 8% shift towards the right, an 8-point swing in favor of the former president from just where we were 4 years ago with Biden's margin. Kamala Harris has roughly almost 45%, 44.9 to Donald Trump's 42.3 in the state of Virginia, which shows she's extremely unpopular. And the one from Emerson College shows she's up by exactly 2% with roughly 1,000 registered voters, which this poll is very accurate. So maybe this could be realistic on election day. So ultimately, this is going to be considered a lean margin for Kamala Harris. I believe it can get much, much closer, but considering that this is an 8-point swing to the right in favor of Donald Trump from just 4 years ago, in which Biden won it by 10, but all of a sudden Harris's lead is only a little bit over 2 percentage points. So she's up by 2.6 as of right now. Not good. Considering that it is less of a margin than Hillary Clinton. So maybe Trump's honestly going to get an electoral landslide. We shall see. So now moving on to some of these Rust Belt states, starting off with Wisconsin. As of right now, Donald Trump has nearly a 2% advantage in the state according to 5 polls from the Decision Desk HQ. His lead is currently at 1.8% to be exact. He is polling at 48.7% to Kamala Harris's 46.9%, almost 47%. And for this to happen on election day, Donald Trump would really have to run up the numbers in some of these stronghold Republican counties like Green Bay, as well as ensure Kamala Harris does not get a lot of turnout in Milwaukee, which basically handed Biden victory in this state. Milwaukee was really key to his victory in 2020, just 4 years ago. Also, if Trump flips Door County, then he's more than likely going to win the state in November. It's going to come down to, obviously, the middle class, those blue-collar workers, the union workers. So it's going to be important for Donald Trump to really make significant gains in Wisconsin. Also, this state was the reddest Rust Belt state, both in 2016 and in 2020 as well. So I do believe this is probably more than likely going to flip for Donald Trump. And so this is the margin for Trump in Wisconsin, 1.8 over Kamala Harris without third-party candidates. And then moving on to the next state, which is going to be Michigan, which neighbors Wisconsin. Obviously, they are both Rust Belt states. So as of right now, Donald Trump has a greater lead in the state of Michigan than he does in Wisconsin, which may be surprising to a lot of you, and it is to me, because like I just mentioned earlier, Wisconsin was the reddest Rust Belt state in 2020, and also Michigan was the bluest Rust Belt state. It went to Biden by nearly 3 percentage points. So this is where, in my opinion, the polls become not trustworthy, and this is why the polls are trash, because why on earth would Michigan be more red than Wisconsin? I mean, it just doesn't make sense, and that's why I don't trust these polls. But Donald Trump has a 2.2% lead based on 3 polls in the state. He's currently polling at 47.8% to Kamala Harris's 45.6% in the state of Michigan. This is going to be considered a lean margin, greater of a margin than Wisconsin, which is kind of shocking. And keep in mind that 100,000 people voted uncommitted in the Democratic primaries, and I understand that's against Joe Biden, not Kamala Harris, but in my opinion, she is less popular than someone like Joe Biden and even Hillary Clinton, because she was chosen by Biden to be his vice president. Obviously, she did not win the votes of the Democratic primaries. When she ran for president, she received barely any support, which is why she's so unpopular, and I don't believe the polls that, show Kamala Harris performs better than Biden. I just don't believe it. I think she performs worse. But obviously, Joe Biden has resigned, so we're past that. And also, Donald Trump received more votes than Joe Biden in the state. And Democrats literally out-register Republicans. And Donald Trump still, as a non-incumbent who had a real primary contest challenger like Nikki Haley, and Joe Biden had none, and he's not even the incumbent, had more votes than Joe Biden, who is the incumbent. And obviously, there's more registered Democrats in the state of Michigan, which is not good news for him. And also, this is Kamala Harris, not Joe Biden. But still, I just want to make that point. I want to make that point across. And now moving on to the last Rust Belt state before we move on to the last and final state, which is going to be New Hampshire, to end off this video. So right now, Donald Trump has a 4.6% lead. This is the strongest Rust Belt state he's leading in currently against Kamala Harris, according to 7 polls. So he is currently polling at 49%, almost getting 50 to Kamala Harris's 44.4%. So according to the polls, Pennsylvania is the reddest Rust Belt state out of them all. Wisconsin is the bluest, which just absolutely makes no sense. Wisconsin should be the reddest, and Michigan should be the bluest, in my opinion, based off of recent history in elections past 2020 and in 2016. It was like that. So as of right now, Donald Trump's going to win all of these Rust Belt states, believe it or not, by lean margins, and he's doing very good in the Rust Belt. In order for this to become true, Donald Trump would have to flip Erie County. He would also have to run up the numbers in Century County and also do good in Pittsburgh, which is where he got shot at, like almost. Butler County is next to Pittsburgh, so maybe he can do well in some of those stronghold Democratic counties, as well as do good in the suburbs. The suburbs is really important, and that's exactly what's going to decide the outcome of this election. Suburban women really is important, and maybe Kamala Harris can do well with suburban women. Maybe issues like abortion could help, but obviously this is a general election, not a midterm, so there's much more important issues than that. For example, the economy, inflation, the border crisis, and immigration, you name it. So maybe Trump could perform better in the Pittsburgh and Philadelphia suburbs than usually compared to 2020, obviously, as well as flip Northampton County, which Northampton only went to Biden by 0.7%. So I think that county is more than likely going to flip, especially considering Kamala Harris is at the top of the ticket on the Democratic side. And now the last and final state before I end off this video is going to be New Hampshire, in which the latest poll, which is actually the most recent according to 538, as of July 19th to the 21st, Kamala Harris is trailing Donald Trump, guys, in the state of New Hampshire, in which Biden won by 7 percentage points. This is an 8-point swing to the right. She is at 39%. She can't even get 40, and Donald Trump is at exactly 40%. In the state of New Hampshire. So he's up by 1 point, which is going to be considered a tilt margin. So if the election was held today, according to obviously 538 and the Decision Desk HQ latest polls, Donald Trump would get 317 electoral votes, greater than his 2016 victory, by the way. The Kamala Harris is 221. So this is the finalized map according to the latest polls. This is not my prediction, obviously. So let me know what states you agree with or disagree with and why in the comment section down below. And one last final reminder is to subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss out on my content, press the like button, give this video a thumbs up. Also, we have memberships. If you are interested, you can find the link to that in the description section. That is pretty much it. Thank you everyone for watching.